Marilyn. You can see you lovely.
Thank you.
It's still thinking about streaming instead of actually streaming.
It's Saturday morning. It hasn't had its coffee, Sean.
I see both recording and streaming.
Yes, exactly. Now it's going. All right. Well, welcome, Penny. It's so great to have you here. Okay. And so great that we get to talk today. I want to introduce my co-host, Marilyn Anderson. My name is Sean Behrman. Marilyn and I are both with the I Support Your Business Network campaign. We are so committed that people get supported by the businesses around them. And these interviews are with some amazing entrepreneurs that we have in our network. So welcome, Penny. Welcome, Marilyn. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and even altering your schedule a little to suit mine.
Yeah, awesome. Whenever you can bend. It will not break you if you bend, right? And can you tell, please, our listeners, where are you from, and what's the basis of what you do? Just introduce yourself to everybody, if you don't mind.
Okay, my name is Penney DePaul. I have a master's degree, and I'm certified as a Reclaim Your Power coach. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is in the southeastern section of the United States. And I've been a life coach for 23 years. And I like to specialize in introducing people to their creative side and leashing their creative side so that they can be out there. So many people said, well, I can only draw a stick figure, or, I can't hold a tune or whatever, and don't realize that being creative shows up in a lot of different ways. Business, gardening, cooking, scrapbooking, or whatever. And by not engaging in our creativity, we're actually making ourselves small and holding ourselves back. So I like to help people identify what is their creative outlet and to be able to do it. And it doesn't have to become a business, or it can become a business. It's just, what they want out of it to help them self-actualize.
Really great. There's so many coaches kind of like showing up in the world these days, and some of them are certified, some of them aren't certified. What do you say to people that are like, what makes you an actual coach? Like, how do you determine the difference between you and all those other shingles that are kind of going up out there?
Yeah. Well, excuse me. The way I distinguish, first of all, I've had 23 years of coaching. I have a 3-year degree from Coach University. Coach University now is a 72-hour degree. So I spent 3 years learning both the coaching business as well as how to coach people and all the practice that went through that. I customize a lot. I listen to what the person it really wants to get out of their life, and we work together to form a plan. Sometimes they have to learn some tools, priority setting, strategic planning, and things like that to move forward. Other times they need someone to listen very deeply to what they're saying. I'm currently in a woman coaching certification program. It's a year-long, very in-depth. It's like taking my master's degree all over again. I was like, wait, I did not sure I signed up for this, but it's very intensive. And it's amazing to see just in a few short moments how it can alter everything. Like this week I learned group facilitation. And this morning I had a group facilitation, my first one since the course, and it was amazing how the structure behind it really helped move it forward. So I would say I have a very diverse background, and that I've worked with a lot of different people on a lot of different areas, as well as being able to zone in and customize to each particular person.
Yeah, really great. I mean, I don't know about you, but when someone comes to me as a coach, what they came to me for rarely turns out to be the actual issue.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like they come for one thing, and then all of a sudden you're clearing out all these other layers over here because that overgrown fungus has come into this area of life and it needs to be dealt with. And in fact, you know, most of you listening don't know this, but I would rather refer someone to Penney to figure out why they're on the planet and make sure that they're taking the right actions for why they're on the planet than to sit there and coach them myself and send them down a particular tunnel that is not their joy, that is not their purpose, that is not what lights them up. So if they come to me saying, I want this, and then we figure out in a conversation or two that what they really need is to figure out why they're on the planet, I would much rather refer them to somebody who's really good at that work, like Penney is, than to try and figure that out and slog them through myself, because it's hard work for me. You know,
or
as a
even what's
coach.
holding them back. So 85% of women, when something doesn't go right, they make it about themselves. I'm not good enough. I'm alone. You know, I'm not worth it or whatever. Whereas men, most of them usually make it about, oh, I didn't do this thing. You know, I didn't take this step or I didn't do that. So it's external to them rather than women internalize. And we create these inner glass ceilings and we can't even see the inner glass ceiling, but it's there. And so learning how to coach through, identify that inner glass ceiling, and then find out how to break through it and steps to take, baby steps in some cases, to take them out of that inner glass ceiling so that they can have amazing results.
Really another great reason to work with Penney, because not every coach can actually take you through the baby steps. That's a coaching characteristic, like personal characteristic trait. Some coaches, like me, we work in giant steps, right? And we need coaches like Penney to take people through, like hold their hand, you know, do this and then do this and then do this and then do this and get things out of the going, right? I just think it's really incredible, Penney, that, you know, that you've actually figured out a way, like a structure and a methodology. And I know this about Penney, and I'm going to say this about Penney, is that she will use whatever methodology is in her arsenal to make sure that you move forward, right? She has multiple methodologies in her trickle trunk of treasures, is what I like to call that back in the day of Mr. Dress Up, the trickle trunk of treasures. And a really great coach isn't going to only use one methodology to ensure you win. A really great coach is going to find the methodology that works best with what you're dealing with, right?
And
but what about people who... Sorry, go ahead.
All right. As you were saying earlier, I find that people have come to me. One guy came to me to lose weight, and we ended up changing his religion, getting him married, selling his house, selling his fiance's house, and buying a third house. Someone else came to me for editing a textbook and ended up buying a horse farm and moving out of the city into the country. So not only do you get what you came for, but you also get some unexpected, fabulous results that are probably bigger and more fantastic than you expected once we get the little stuff out of the way.
That's the beauty of it, right? That's the beauty of it. And, you know, a lot of people don't even know where to start. You know, Penney and I work with, there's probably 50 to 60 other coaches that we work with regularly, right? And we're bringing all those people together in the fall to really give people a taste of what coaching is all about. We're going to hold a big event where people can get coaching, right? But if they didn't have access to something like that, Penney, right? By the way, that's called the Coaches Continuum, a speed coaching event. Reach out to me, I'll give you information. But if they didn't have that, Penney, where would be the best place for someone to start even finding out what kind of coaching they need?
Well, it usually helps to have a discovery call with one or more coaches to flesh out. And usually the discovery calls are free. If a coach is going to charge you for that initial call, I am suspect already. So because it's an opportunity to sort of interview each other and what your characteristics are, your background, what the person is looking for. A lot of times people don't even, you know, as you said, they don't know what they want, but a really good coach can help flesh that out and find out, you know, well, what is your vision? What is your focus? What is it that you want to work on? And then come up with an itinerary or a plan in order to get that to happen. So
Yeah.
that's where I would start, is to interview at least 3 coaches and maybe even have a set of questions that you ask each one. And it's the
Yeah,
same
and if you're going
questions.
to do that, but yeah, I would ask the same questions in the same order of each coach, because that's really going to show you the differences between coaching styles, because coaching
Apples
styles
to
can be so
apples.
different, right? Yeah, apples to apples. And I love that, Penny, because I even tell coaches to go and do discovery calls with other coaches, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
literally you can learn so much from that process, right? It's just brilliant, brilliant.
Well, we're
All right.
human too, and we have little areas that may not work as well as we'd like them to. And you can find, you know, another coach, or if you specialize in one area and not as much in the other, then working with a coach in another area is awesome. I think
Yeah.
everybody should have a coach. I've had one, not the same one for 23 years, ever since I
Yes.
started.
Yes. Yeah, I think I've had one for at least that long too, at any given time. It's not necessarily the same coach for all that
Right.
time, but I've had many coaches in many different areas. Whenever there's an area that I'm not great in, or I'm not producing results in, that's what I go looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
The coach's brain I can pick around this.
Right.
All right. And, you know, specifically when people have limiting beliefs, right? When their conversation with their inner roommate is taking them out regularly, okay? How do you deal with them, and how do you cause something with them so that their voice isn't taking them out?
Okay, well, I have, as you said, I have a couple different modalities. One, which you know very well, reclaim your power, because you created it. So there's that, which is a very quick
That one works.
stopgap measure. But I'm
Mhm.
learning in this other woman-centered coaching, almost there's a meditative way, but where you like parent your inner child in a way that it takes a little longer, but it seems to last longer once you actually get over that situation. Like you break through it, break free, right? You break through it,
Mhm.
and then it actually it no longer affects you to the same extent that it did before. So I've got
Right.
multiple modalities to work with.
Is it even safe to say that inside of the modalities that you're doing, right, if you can reduce the conflict between you and your inner voice, then you're moving something forward?
I would say definitely your fear factors, the voice that says, "Oh, you can't do that," or you'll be laughed at or whatever. Once that's out of the way, anything's possible. You're just in a space of,
It's really brilliant.
you
It's really brilliant.
you can get creative about I could try this, I could try this, I could talk to this person, I could deal with this. That, whereas before you were like this and you couldn't get out of it.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, absolutely. 100% agree, and one of the beauties of these interviews is that we get to hear about some of the people that you've worked with. And I know Marilyn hasn't said much, just because Penny and I, we're like old friends, right? So, it's like I'm interviewing one of my best friends about what they do, even though I know about, what Penny does. But Marilyn, if you have anything else to add, feel free. But Penny, I just wanted to give you a chance to, sorry, give me one sec, Marilyn. As soon as Marilyn has done a comment, Penny, I just want to give you a chance to tell us about one or two of the people that you've worked with, and, what they dealt with you and what they've gone on to do as a result. I know you shared a little bit earlier, but I'd like to hear more. Go ahead,
I just love what you said about the experience of parenting your inner child. And I absolutely love, and I've seen you on a lot of screens and a lot of different conversations, where you often just sit back and let everybody else play ping pong with the ball that's the topic of the moment before you weighed in with wisdom and growth and experience. But what I loved in this interview, thank you so much, Sean, as well, is that when Sean asks you questions about coaching, you're so vivid and you come alive, and that passion, the experience of that, just seeing that expressed in you has just been delightful. And that's what everyone who contacts you gets. And that is a gift.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. And I appreciate your way of zeroing in on things and acknowledging people and the graciousness that you have with people. So like I said, one of my favorite, and I don't know if this person will see this video. It's like, coaching is confidential. I'm not saying who this person is. And that person may be the only person who would recognize this. But one of my favorite coaching experiences was with a colleague in an area that I actually had a full-time job in, and I had a little crush on him as well. He was one of the top in the field. And he came to me, and he's the one who wanted to lose 25 pounds. And the first question he asked, though, was, how do you know when you're in love with someone? And I was new to the coaching, and I didn't want to lose him in the first minute, because what I really wanted to say immediately was, if you have to ask, then you're not in love. But I let it go for about 20 minutes. And it turned out he was Catholic, and he was told as a child that anyone who's not Catholic is going straight to hell. And so I shared with him my background in reincarnation and what I've learned, that no, I don't think hell exists, other than maybe on Earth. We're doing a real good job in certain parts of the world, really, killing people off and whatnot. But through the course of about a year and a half of coaching, he did fall in love with that person. He changed his religion from Catholic to what hers was, became a minister in that area, and they sold their individual houses and bought a new house. And every year when their anniversary comes around, I'm like, yes, I was a factor in that. So that's like my favorite coaching story. And I don't think he ever lost the weight. I think she was a good cook. He probably gains the weight from her cooking, but he's still very active. He did retire as I did, from the field, but he's a Facebook friend, so I do see him on Facebook every now and then. And there's other people that I've had these huge other breakthroughs that I have an ownership in that. I had a little piece in altering their life to get them what they really, really, really wanted. And that's just so heart touching. It's like, one of my purposes in life, as well as being an artist and a dancer and all the other stuff that lights me up.
Great job.
All right, great, brilliant. Marilyn, any other questions?
No, I've just enjoyed this experience so much. I've got a new laptop, and ladies, I apologize, we got this little red light that's flashing in the corner, and I don't know if it means it's going to take me away soon. I just want to acknowledge and thank you both, because I have the pleasure and the privilege of working with two amazing women who help people not just sort their lives, but restructure foundations that can build high rises and skyscrapers. And one thing that you said early on about, like, I don't have a voice in my head that says, no, you can't. But the voice in my head, the one that I was trained with from, this long in life, is that I had to wait until I was offered my turn. And that is something that I still struggle with. So we need to talk. But I just appreciated so much in that one sentence, the impact that it had for me, a self-realization that I hadn't codified. I was aware of it, but I hadn't codified it. And that is an example of the power of what you do, what you both do with the people that cross your screens, your lives, your sidewalks. And I just want to honor, acknowledge, and thank you both very much for being in my world.
Oh, thank
Awesome.
you, Marilyn.
Thanks, Marilyn. Penny, anything else for you before we complete?
I learned to interrupt in my family, otherwise you wouldn't be able to get a word in edgewise. So yeah, Again, I appreciate this. I support your business. It's going to be very interesting to see the results of this when it ends in October, I think. So
Yeah, don't forget to just make sure that you're posting every day.
Oh, I do every day. I like all, even if
Awesome.
it doesn't work, I find a workaround so that I can post in a different way to at least acknowledge my fellow entrepreneurs.
In
Yeah.
BC, that should be what I do next on BC time.
Yeah,
Oh,
awesome.
okay. All right. Well, thank
right,
you,
ladies,
ladies,
thank you
both
very,
for a
very much.
wonderful,
Well,
wonderful
I've got lots to
interview.
post about you, Penny. This is going to be an easy one.
All right. Thank
Take
you
care.
both. Look
Thank you
forward to
both
seeing you
very
on our next activity together.
Thanks, Facebook. Thanks.